I'm beaming in. I'm not virtually. I'm beaming in. Good morning. I am Judge Rob Philyaw. I asked those guys to make me sound really cool, put me through a filter or something when I was up here. I don't think it's working, but thank you for trying. Really glad to be here today. Glad to have this green button on. So good to be in person and see you all here. You know, this is our first time hosting Children's Advocacy Days as a hybrid event like we're doing today. We're thrilled by the opportunity that this presents to engage even more child advocates across the state and make a greater impact on child well-being and improving outcomes for children, youth, and families. Over the more than 30 years that TCCY has organized and hosted Children's Advocacy Days, we face challenges and opportunities, of course. And we know that some of you are dealing with things personally, professionally, that from the impacts of the last 2 years. We hope that Children's Advocacy Days will be an opportunity to reflect on all the challenges and the changes that have occurred during the last 2 years, while also creating space to be hopeful for the opportunities that lie ahead. Our theme this year, as you've seen on many things, including the canoe down at the end of the hall. If you haven't seen it, go take a look at it. I want to see Richard in it later this summer. Our theme this year is Currents of Change, Rivers of Opportunity, a theme which I feel encompasses this time that we're in as individuals, as a state, and as a nation perfectly, and even a world. And thank you, Richard, for that moment of silence. I know you all join me in praying for the children of Ukraine today. I was so impressed. I heard Richard quote a Greek philosopher last night, and he said, a man never steps into the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and he's not the same man. As we step back into a partially in-person Children's Advocacy Days program in the river of work, school, personal, and family life, it's nearly impossible for us to ignore the ways that both we and the world have changed over these last 2 years. And we realize today, we all realize, I think everybody in this room and everybody joining us from across the state realizes that many Tennesseans faced immense changes, challenges, heartbreak since we were all together 2 years ago this week in 2020. And like you, I will never forget that week and never forget those 2 days at War Memorial when we were together. But since that time, we've grown, we've adapted, and we've changed. We've learned how to support one another, and we've found resilience among the strongest currents. We as a judicial system have found out we can do things differently. We can actually hold court virtually, and have and do, and will continue in some regard. As we set ourselves toward the future, we see so many opportunities for improvement and advancing the progress that we've made over the last decade. We've seen what can happen when we support our fellow Tennesseans, making services and supports more accessible for all. Some of the challenges we've seen are, picture with me, like a rock that's been formed by water running over it for a long time. Redirecting a river takes long-term efforts. Think about it as a team, long-term efforts by a team of skilled people. But when we identify that the opportunities in the work of rechanneling begins early, when the groove is still shallow and the river is small, the work will be easier. And once the river is redirected, of course, there'll always be things to do to keep it from finding its way back to its old groove. Like redirecting a river, Tennessee's children through challenges works best when we intervene and support early, include teams of specialists working together, like you all gathered here today, and of course, when we make a long-term commitment. Throughout our agenda over the next 2 days, we hope to highlight some of the immense changes that Tennesseans faced, how we've risen to the challenge, and how we progress forward together from here. We are really honored to have some amazing speakers. We're honored to have some amazing guests with us today. We're honored to have really talented speakers coming to talk over the next day and a half. I hope that however you're joining us, whether here in the room or virtually from your home or office, that you leave Children's Advocacy Days 2022 feeling inspired and supported by the wonderful partners and advocates for child well-being here in Tennessee. You all make Tennessee a greater place. Governor Lee couldn't be here with us today in person, but it's my privilege to introduce him by video. Governor Bill Lee, who of course works every day to make Tennessee a better place for children, youth, and families. Thank you all.
Hey everybody, Governor Bill Lee here. Welcome to the 2022 Children's Advocacy Days. I want to take a minute to commend your dedication to children and families all across Tennessee. We appreciate your generosity and your care and recognize the important role that you play in ensuring that they have opportunities to thrive. Thank you for investing in Tennessee children. Enjoy this time together.